How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to Recycled Primates, where I wanted to do a follow-up video to my video on these 3D printable drum dampening clips. Now, if you have not seen that video, I do recommend that you watch it first because this video will make much more sense. There's a link in the description below so that you can click over there, check it out, and then come back. In that video, I talk about these clips, why I like them and why I use them. I demo them for you, and in the description of that video, there's two links that will take you over to Thingiverse. The first one will take you to the original design by the original designer, so you can download that. And then the second clip will take you to my variation of these clips, and you can download those, try them both out, see which one you like. But I'm also working on a short series of 4 videos about some unique effect microphones that I own. And one of the videos is demoing these effect microphones on guitar cabs. Well, I wanted to do a little example production in that video, so I have a reference track that I cut with a 57, and then I pair that with one of the effect microphone recordings, and nothing's cut to a click track. It was just done for fun. But you can hear the 57, then all the effect microphones, but I take one of them, I pair it with a 57, and then I cut some drums to that to give a cool little production. While recording the drums, I used my half-width clip along with a microfiber cloth to do the dampening on the snare drum. And I thought, hey, this would be a good idea to do a video where I show you this mix that I did and I break it down for you, but we focus on the snare drum so that you can hear how this clip paired with a microfiber cloth allowed me to dampen the snare to get the control I want and get rid of the ring and all that nonsense. But then it still maintained a natural sound. Nothing got choked or artificial or anything like that, and then it gives me the ability to really tighten things up in the mix. So we're going to focus on the snare drum here, but I'll run through the mix a little bit. And this isn't like a serious mix. I did one mic on the inside of the kick, I did one mic on the top of the snare, which is generally my style, and then 2 overheads, and that's all I use, kick, snare, and overheads. And I did a pretty quick little mix here, mostly subtractive EQing. But let's not jump into the DAW. I'll give you a quick overview on everything. Then we'll listen to the snare drum. We'll bring in the effects. Then we'll bring in the reverb. Then we'll bring in the whole drums, all that good stuff. Let's jump in there, okay? So I already have everything leveled and panned. On the kick, I have an expander. I'm only letting the gate close about 24-25 dB. And then I have an EQ on it just to clean things up. And then on the overheads, I'm high passing at 500 hertz, and I'm lifting a little bit at 12K and up. And that just adds a little bit of air. But here is the kick and hi-hat, or kick and overheads mixed, but with the raw snare. Now let's listen to the snare on its own, and we'll start to bring in some of the effects. So here's the snare. So you can hear how just having that expander, where again I'm only letting it close about 24 dB, it cleans things up. It doesn't really change anything about the way the snare sounds, but since we do have an expander, and after that initial transient, it is pushing stuff down, so we're losing a little bit of the meat of the snare, so I'm going to then bring in a compressor to bring that back up. So let's hear raw snare, then expanded snare, and then we'll bring in the compressor so you can hear this evolution. So now we're going to bring in a little EQ just to get rid of some stuff that we don't need, like 500 hertz and everything below like 70 hertz, and then pretty much everything above 12K. And we're going to boost a little bit around 40, I think 43, 45, somewhere in that realm, just to bring a little bit of clarity into it. So we're going to go from this to So not a dramatic difference. You're just getting some more clarity. So again, here's the snare on its own, and then we'll bring in all the effects. Now, let's bring in the overheads, and we'll start with raw snare and then bring in the effects as the snare and the overheads are together. So you can hear there's not a dramatic difference. It's just now the snare really kind of sounds the same, but it just all of a sudden becomes more defined. But we are missing some of that space, right? Like paired with the overheads, some of that space comes back, but not enough. So that's where we want a reverb. Now, I'm going to aux send the snare drum. Now, because I have my snare drum slightly panned to the left, and I have the aux panned slightly to the right, you're going to hear a little bit of a separation. I'm doing this for the, so for the example, so you can hear it. And we're actually going to gate the aux. So we're going to hear this evolution, okay? So here's the snare without the accent, and then we'll bring it in. Let's bring in the overheads, and again, just snare and overheads, and then we'll bring in the reverb. So it sounds pretty good. Let's bring in the kick drum and check it out. All right, so now I want you to hear that same exact thing, but we're going to go from raw snare to mixed snare to mixed snare with reverb. All right, so check it out. So I think you can hear that the snare maintains a pretty consistent natural sound. It just becomes more defined, a little punchier and more forward. Now we can, in fact, increase that by having another aux where we send the kick and the snare to that, and we add a compressor and do some parallel processing. And we'll go from this So not dramatically different, right? I mean, you get a little bit more forwardness, a little bit more punch out of the kick and the snare, but for the most part, the kick and the snare still sound the same. There's not a dramatic difference. It maintains that natural sound. So I'm going to take the parallel compression out. We're going to bring in the guitars, and then at the halfway point, we're going to bring in the parallel compression so that you can hear the difference that it makes in the full mix. So there you go. Let's do one last run through. Guitars, drums, we're going to have raw snare, then we're going to bring in the effects, Then we're going to bring in the aux. We're going to hear how all that sounds. So here we go. All right, so I hope what I'm trying to convey here is coming across quite clearly, and you hear how, since the snare was captured right at the source with the right microphone, right mic placement, proper control and dampening with this clip and a piece of microfiber cloth, when I got to the mix, all I needed was a little bit of an expansion to clean things up, a little bit of compression to even things out, a little bit of EQ to get rid of the stuff that we didn't need, and just to boost a tiny bit of 4300 so that we bring up some clarity on that snare, and then bring up a little bit of brightness and splash and fill out the space of the snare with a nice reverb. You know, how throughout the entire process of source to finish snare, you know, it maintained a natural and consistent sound. We just had it enhanced. It just became a little bit more focused, a little more forward, and a little bit more defined. But overall, we were able to get a really nice, natural, but controlled and punchy and clear sound on these drums using nothing but one mic on kick, one mic on snare, and 2 overhead mics, and a little bit of processing, nothing crazy. So yeah, I hope that that you enjoyed this demonstration, and it showed how useful these clips can be and how much easier you can get a mix done quite quickly and efficiently. You know, and I typically am using outboard gear, not plugins, so you know, I get a little bit, I think I get a little bit better sound. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it and got something, you know, out of this video. And if you made it this far, you're a rare breed, and I appreciate you for your time. Thank you. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment, hit the notification bell, hype, and all that good stuff. And always remember, if a UFO is identified, it's just an FO. And then if it lands, it's just a no. So until the next video, take care.